Oh, sorry. All right. We're here. Good morning, guys. We are here today. It is Monday. It's a huge week for markets. We got a lot of stuff going on this week. Today's a little slow, but we do have McDonald's earnings supposed to be dropping in like 10 minutes or so. Outside of that, today's kind of boring, but everything else is really, really busy. Morgan Stanley added Tesla to its top pick for U.S. autos, replacing Ford. So Tesla replaced Ford in one of Morgan Stanley's auto pick lists. And yeah. We'll see what happens. Let me get some music playing here. I am geeking at the opportunities to regrow my lost account. Yeah, I'm always one of those people where, like, it's really hard to, for me as a person, right? It's really hard to discourage me. Like, I'm confident in my abilities. Like, no matter what business is or anything that I start, like, I'm confident. If I focus on something, I can usually do well, you know, and I'm not like, I don't want to be like, I'm too, like, my ego's too big, because it's not. Like, I recognize failure and all this different stuff. I'm just confident in my abilities, you know. I think confidence is important. I think you can't be too confident, but I'm confident in my abilities as a trader, investor, as well as like a business person, you know, is the easiest way to put it. Yeah, market's up a lot today. Tesla up to 223s, Nvidia up to 114s, Q up to 466. So we got a lot of rebounds. My portfolio has grown a lot over the last like 2 days, really, in markets. You know, yeah. My trades that were really red are starting to go back. So I think there's a lot of buying opportunity in some of these as well. Like, my Meta stock is actually pretty green. Like, my Meta position is green. My Southwest Airline position is green. We're still in Intel, and it's green as well. Home Depot is green. Coca-Cola is green. Nvidia is very green. Snowflake is coming back a little bit. A healthy confidence. I think confidence is important. No, we don't have any economic reports today. We do have McDonald's earnings that's about to drop. This is the only day where we don't have economic reports. Everything else is, every other day this week is packed full of stuff. Like, an example of this is tomorrow. We've got the Case-Shiller, the Jolts job report scheduled for tomorrow. This morning we got McDonald's earnings, Royal Phillips earnings, and that's basically it. We got like CNA Financial, a couple other ones. This afternoon we've got Tilray, Sprouts, Symbiotic, F5 Networks, and a couple other ones. But tomorrow we got Sofi, PayPal, Pfizer, Procter & Gamble, BP, Merck, lots of other ones, JetBlue, Philips. And then tomorrow evening's when all the big earnings start, right? So tomorrow evening we have AMD, Microsoft, Starbucks. So like a gang of earnings. I don't know which one I should cover, whether I should cover AMD or whether I should cover Microsoft earnings. I genuinely don't know which one I should cover. McDonald's is scheduled to release in 5 minutes, about 4.5 minutes actually. So they're scheduled to drop at 7 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. But again, Morgan Stanley putting out a report that they're adding Tesla to its top pick. We'll put this up on screen so you can see it. Like, this is some news that came out this morning. But yeah, tomorrow, AMD, Microsoft, Starbucks, Pinterest, First Solar, Caesars, EA, Lemonade, a bunch of other ones. Boeing. Wednesday morning, we got Boeing, Norwegian Cruise, MasterCard, Wingstop, Altria, Kraft Heinz. The big thing this week, though, chat, we have earnings every day this week except for today, really. Like, even today, we have some earnings this morning. But the big thing this week, if we look at it, like, again, tomorrow evening, we've got Microsoft, AMD, Pinterest, and a bunch of others. Thursday evening, or Wednesday evening, we got Meta, ARM, QCOM, Carvana. But before that, we have the Fed meeting. And so Wednesday is going to be so busy. We're going to literally work from... We're literally going to have to work Wednesday... We're literally going to have to work Wednesday morning, afternoon, and evening. So we're going to have to work Wednesday and stream Wednesday morning, and then we're going to have to cover the FOMC meeting at 2 p.m. Wednesday like we always do, and then we're going to have to cover afterwards Meta earnings. And so we're going to go from all of that stuff to Meta. Thursday, we have some stuff as well. Thursday, we have Apple, Amazon earnings. So two of the biggest earnings reports on Thursday: Apple, Amazon, Intel, Coinbase, Roku. Let's see if McDonald's. So Coca-Cola keeping their divvy at 48 cents. So that's good. Yeah, earnings whisper. It's pretty good. McDonald's earnings supposed to come out at 7. Yeah, it's gonna be a long week, but it's all good. I get a couple different sources reporting news. I'm not going to give up all my sources for them, but yeah, this is just one of my sources reporting the Tesla news. Tesla looks good though. Nike, we're in Nike. It's bouncing back some. We're still down. But again, I'm just going to stay in this. All right, so maybe I should get a quieter keyboard. All right. All right, chat. Hey, Pawn, how did the trading video over this weekend go? Yeah, Bitcoin having a really nice move here, chat. Bitcoin over 70K. I try to tell people, like, Bitcoin has, like, you know, like, okay, I'm trying to think of the most delicate way to put this. Like, typically there's a lot of misdirection floating around in everything, right? Like, this is something that you see a lot. Like, years ago, people called a market crash, didn't buy, and then last year the S&P did one of the largest gains that it's ever done. 24%, not one of the largest gains it's ever done. Let me rephrase. It had one of the best years in a while, right, at 24% last year for the S&P. And a lot of people prior to that were pushing for a market crash, just kind of oblivious to how they get pulled in all these different directions, right? And that might be a hard thing for them to accept. And kind of like a lot of things, the first step to getting better is accepting that that's kind of what happened. I digress back to the point. The point is, who is the most threatened by Bitcoin? I would argue a lot of banks are, right? Because Bitcoin is a definancial version of banking in a lot of ways. So the banks don't like Bitcoin. And so they put out a lot of marketing about how they don't like Bitcoin. Some of them are doing the right thing and adopting it and using it, but others are kind of like basically talking smack about Bitcoin. And so you see that kind of mirrored and parroted a lot with people in regular, like, and you hear the same arguments every time. Bitcoin doesn't do anything. Gold doesn't really do anything. Like, yeah, sure, we use it in tech, but outside of tech use, what does gold do? It does nothing. It's a rock. You know, it's a shiny rock. But again, the same reason gold is valuable, Bitcoin is valuable, and it's been designed to be valuable. It's designed to have a finite amount of them that can ultimately be mined, as well as, like, there's a lot more utility in Bitcoin than there is in gold. So the point remains, over time, Bitcoin is probably going to gain value. And I think just in how it's designed and how widely used and how widely adopted it is, Bitcoin is probably, and again, I say probably because nothing's for sure, like nothing's for sure, but over time, Bitcoin's probably going to gain value. How much, where does it go? I have no idea. But I think every time it drops, you hear a bunch of people talk about how it's weak and bad and not good or whatever it is, and then it bounces back, and then it's crickets, and then they wait for it to get higher and then pull back again, and then they say the same thing again. And you kind of see this happen over and over again. We'll see what happens with it this time, but it's back up to around the lifetime highs. You know, it's within $5,000 from lifetime highs now, and yeah, we'll see what happens. It's over 70K, almost to 71,000. Why would we actually need Bitcoin? Again, Marquez, I'm gonna give you the same thing I just said. Why would you actually need gold, sir? What does gold do? Explain that to me. Like, what is gold? What is actually gold? What does actual gold do? Nothing. It does nothing. It's a shiny gold rock. You know, that's rare, right? Same concept, same thing. Yeah, McDonald's. Sorry, McDonald's just dropped their numbers here. McDonald's posted $2.97. Missed EPS, revenue of 6.49. They expected 6.61. They actually came in pretty bad for earnings here. So here's McD's, down a little bit, under 250s. I'll put the earnings up in chat. Sure, I mean, gold has some uses. Yeah, sure. And I would argue so does Bitcoin, you know. Like, I would actually argue that Bitcoin's use is much more profound than gold's use, to be honest. Gold, outside of like small amounts of tech and like stuff, small amounts of like use case arguments for like building things, I would argue that Bitcoin has much more. You know, Bitcoin allows you to send money anywhere, regardless of status, very quickly and very easily. You know, and I think that's a powerful thing. Just like PayPal is a multi-billion-dollar company, I think Bitcoin does the same thing and more efficiently, you know, to a certain extent. But again, I'm not here to argue Bitcoin all day. It's all good here. I understand the skepticism, and I'm naturally contrarian and skeptical as well. So I'm not a big believer in just jumping on the bandwagon of things, and I get it. Like, I get it. Anyways. Yeah, so again, McDonald's dropped. They had a pretty bad result here. They posted $2.97, under expected, revenue lower than expected, comp sales at minus 1%. They expected a gain of 0.84%. So, yeah. McDonald's didn't really do that great. Yeah, I mean, I think that's the smart move. Just trade small, understand, diversify. That's the game that we play. All right, guys. Costco still sells the gold strips. All right, so gold is not heavily used in building and construction. Other materials are more commonly used due to their properties and cost effectiveness. Steel, concrete, wood, brick, glass, aluminum, plastics. Gold is not commonly used in construction either. They use a little bit of it in niche requirements for it, but it's certainly not widely used in anything. It's too valuable to use in any significant way in building. They use a little bit of it in electronics sometimes, but again, that's not super it's not super heavily used in any of those things you mentioned, CWC. Again, if we're going to talk about Bitcoin being a Ponzi, I would argue that you could say the same thing about gold. And I'm a gold buyer. I like gold. I think gold is one of the single best inflationary hedges in the world. But with that said, I think Bitcoin has I think you have to understand technology growth, right? Over time, tech growth is going to be there. We're not talking about whether the grid goes down or all this different super, if the grid goes down, we got a lot bigger problems. Gold is going to be essentially worthless as well, sir. If you think gold is going to be valuable when the grid is down, of course not, right? It's just not going to they're not going to have any really real ways to distinguish it from other things outside of people who really know what they're talking about. And even still, it's going to be virtually useless, weighted, heavy to carry. Nobody's going to care about gold if the grid goes down. The point is, there's a lot of correlations between gold and Bitcoin. And I think instead of just hating Bitcoin, which is, I think, mirrors the big bank sentiments, which is what big banks want you to do because they see it as a threat, I think looking at both of them objectively is important. Anyways, Tesla coming back down at 222s. We'll see what happens. Tesla falling underneath the volume-weighted average price. We did have that Morgan Stanley argument where they added it to their top pick list in U.S., replacing Ford. What's up, Yasir? Yeah, sketchy altcoin. I'm not saying to buy any altcoins or anything like that. I think a lot of the crypto market is super sketchy. Yeah, letting gold will be much more valuable. All right, guys, McDonald's technically green, even though I didn't think the earnings report was very good for McD's here. I just didn't like the earnings report that much. But it's up a little bit. We'll see if it holds. Disney's still up a little bit today. I like Disney. Disney looks good. See if it holds there. feel like people are blind-eyed by the get-rich-easy with Bitcoin hyped up by everyone who can gain attention, money, and fame. Yeah, I mean, I think there's certainly risks short-term with anything. I think if you buy gold right now, there's risks short-term, right? Like, the problem is that people want things to go straight up like this, and very rarely do they long-term. They're not going to go like that long-term. Most of the time, any good long-term buy is going to be volatile short-term. It definitely includes gold. If we look at gold here as an example, right? Like if we zoom in on gold, we zoom out on gold, I should say. Gold has long-term bear markets, right? Like look at gold between 2011 all the way through really 2019. So for that 8-year period from 2011 to 2019, gold downtrended the entire time. It dropped from $1,900 an ounce all the way down to $1,200. So it lost like 30-40% of its value in 9 years, and it downtrended the entire time. Right now, eventually it ripped up and broke those levels, but anything that generally is a good long-term investment can be volatile short-term, and definitely including gold, right? Now, I'm not here to argue which one's better. I'll tell you this. Over the last 20 years, Bitcoin has appreciated much more than gold has. Much more than gold has. And I'm not saying it continues to go up. I think right now, it depends on where you stand. I think if you are okay with a little bit more aggressive portfolio, you could try Bitcoin. But I think if you want safe, steady gains, you know, I would probably go with gold, right? Like I'm looking to be objective as possible here. And I think gold is probably safer, but I think Bitcoin has more potential short term, right? And so we'll see what happens. And I also think that what hurts the crypto landscape, and again, this is only Bitcoin and Ethereum, right? The rest of them are very sketchy. Not the rest of them, but a lot of the other ones are very sketchy. And you just want to be really careful with them because there's risks definitely with a lot of the other ones. But it doesn't mean the whole market's bad, and it doesn't mean that especially Bitcoin and other cryptos like this are bad in general. You know, Bitcoin has a use case argument, and the use case is that you can send money anywhere in the world very quickly and easily, regardless of status, red tape, anything like that. You can send it anywhere. That's a powerful thing that a lot of people don't realize. Like, you got a lot of people that are like, yeah, the government's bad or whatever they say, and then they don't support crypto or Bitcoin, you know? Like, when the government starts to put out their own versions of this stuff, you can distrust those, but Bitcoin's kind of the main one. And so, I don't know. I'm torn on it, but I also understand all the different sides, I guess. I like stocks and real estate, renting out. Yeah, real estate's good, you know. Yeah, no middleman. Yeah, for sure. There's a good chance we gap up and sell off because of the trend, but having said that, due for a big bounce. Yeah, I think we've been bouncing back. I think if we look at, like, the SPY here, I think it's a good look, you know. Like, the SPY looks solid. It's at 544s, you know. So the SPY's trying to make moves, and the SPY's in a good little trend here. I think the SPY's still in a solid trend. I think if you look at the trend here, it is the last, like, year straight. There's the SPY, there's the long-term trend. Now, I think we're still in that trend, and I think if we bounce at 540s, it's even better. And so, yeah, we'll see what happens here. I'm also still in Meta, still in a lot of these blue chip stocks, and I think now might be a good time to. I'm not gonna say it's a good time to buy because I really genuinely have no idea, but yeah. So what happens where we got 1,400 contracts? contracts. We lose 19 a share. Okay. What other ETFs are like T-bill? Yeah, ETH is very good. Yeah, I'm in Ford, believe it or not. So I am in Ford. Any other T? What's the other T-bill? I'm curious. I'm trying to play this strategy. Like I'm trying to play this strategy, chat, regarding Treasury bond ETFs, and so I'm trying to figure out what are some similar Treasury bonds to or Treasury bond ETFs to T-bill. I could find it pretty quickly using AI, but yeah. Okay, yeah, we can get rid of this. There we go. Let's try this out. Yeah, so yeah, I'm checking up on this. That's pretty good. Yeah, that's pretty good. Sorry, I'm checking up on this indicator that I built. Honestly, it's pretty solid, dude. I'm not going to show you guys what it is, but I've been kind of building this for a while now. Like, I built a couple different ones. But honestly, when you zoom in on this indicator, so this is an indicator that is purely proprietary. Let me rename this so you guys can't see what it is. Sorry, chat. Let's see. Settings. Name. Oh, I know how to change the name. I call this the power reversal indicator. All right, but check it out. So look, here's trading view. I'm gonna hide the script here so you can't copy my script. I also have it built on TOS as well, believe it or not. But check it out. So this is a 5-minute chart, right? Here's the indicator showing up. All right, look at this. So 5-minute indicator, boom, called the bottom, bullish reversal, called the bounce. We keep going back here. Here's a 5-minute chart, called this reversal here. Look at that. So again, here's the other one. Boom, showed up right there. Got a nice little reversal. It eventually bounced back, but it's a short-term reversal indicator. It's not meant to be like super long-term, although it does call some tops and bottoms really well. Like, look, here's another one. All right, so like here's another one. Literally called it right here. And then got a nice little follow through. And this is like 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 40, like 35, 40. 40 minutes of red or green action following it, I think is pretty solid. And then again, and this is the NASDAQ 100. Look at this one, called the top. Here, it doesn't show up a lot, but it's pretty accurate when it does, at least for the following, like, 5 candles, I would say. So look at this one, though. Literally called the top. Beautiful breakdown for hours and hours, literally all day. We're going to keep going back here. I haven't really seen one that hasn't worked, to be honest, except for maybe this one. But the rest of these have been pretty on point, man. Like, look at this. So here's one, called the bottom. Nice little follow-through bounce. Here's the top. Literally called the top as well. Showed up here, follow-through bounce. Showed up right here, beautiful bounce here. So you can kind of see the accuracy all the way back until this one didn't work. And even the ones prior to that. So this is the only one that didn't work really out of the last like 6 or 7. And then look at this one, called the bottom, beautiful bounce. This one definitely didn't work though. But again, same thing. This one called the top, follow through, dip. So I'm going to keep building it, but so far this is probably my best algo that I've built. And I've been working on building them too. Now sometimes like you get strings of red action and this one didn't work, but look at this. When it works, like look at it called the top. Nothing's gonna work 100% of the time either, but like honestly, it's a pretty good algo. I'm gonna keep building it. So let me know what you guys think of it. Yeah, On Semi. So On Semi did have earnings today. They drop at 8 a.m. though, so they don't drop for another 40 minutes or so, give or take. All right, so similar ETFs to T-bill, as I was recently suggesting here. Yeah, you know. All right, BIL is the same thing as T-bill, BIL. A little bit more expensive. This is $91. What I'm curious about is like, can I buy this dip? Like after this comes down, I'm gonna try to buy it and see what happens after this week. This is the last week here. Here, let me put a weekly chart up. The other risk is what happened here. Hey, thank you, CWC. I appreciate it. Thank you. CWC, you're a good example of like, you could disagree with me, but if you're nice about it, I'm not going to ban you, right? Like, you got other people that are like, hey, bro, why'd I get banned, man? And it's just kind of like, you're getting banned because all you're doing is talking smack. Like, why would I let somebody like that stick around, you know? But if you're respectful, even if you disagree with me, like it's all good. And I think the conversations in that regard are good. Like they're healthy. All right. Yeah, there's a couple G-bill, S-gov. Yeah, I'm trying to. I guess all Treasury bills dipped in that situation. G-bill, S-gov bill. Clip, CLIP. XHLF is another one. A little bit cheaper one here. Yeah, all good, CWC. Thanks, man. Yeah, I mean, he can buy SHIB or whatever. Again, it's, you know, reward takes risk, you know. And so maybe he'll make money. I'm not a big fan of Shiba Inu. I think that, like, there's just a lot of really bad arguments for it that I haven't really seen a good argument for it yet. And again, maybe that's just me. I don't know. Yeah, so. Again, here's Mickey D's at 253s right now, mostly flat. Again, they had bad earnings, I would say, bad revenue, missed EPS. But again, we'll see what happens. All right, guys, so Tesla actually back up to 223s. Let's take a look at Tesla here. McDonald's is still trying. Nvidia is still over 113s. The real question is, will Nvidia bounce back? I don't know. Nvidia is down. Here's the SPY. Tesla did pop back up to 224s. All right. Yeah, so we're looking at some other news. We do have one semi reporting their numbers in about 30 minutes here. Royal Caribbean Cruises is offering 1.5 billion senior unsecured notes. The London Metal Exchange announces some stuff. Coca-Cola is maintaining their divvy at about 49 cents a share, 48.5 cents. Bro, these Drake lookalikes are a problem. Bro, this Drake lookalike, like, I couldn't imagine basing my entire identity off of looking like Drake, you know. They gotta stop. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, Nightbot ain't having that, Sam, but I get it. The problem, I don't know if it's Shiba Inu. There was one of them that was like, hey, well, if we just make it up to $1, right? And they're like, oh, if we just make it to $1. But the problem is, like, if it got to $1, it would have a larger market cap than Bitcoin, you know? And so it's just not a reasonable, like, argument for it. Like, a lot of people want to get rich, and that's how they fall for kind of stuff like that. I just don't trust it. But maybe they're right. Like, with altcoins, you never really know. Like, you genuinely never really know. The FOMC meeting, Johnny, is this week. So the Fed meeting is Wednesday, right? So yes, Powell speaks this week on Wednesday, Eastern Standard Time. We're going to stream the entire thing live. We also have Meta earnings right afterwards, too. So, yeah. All right. Yeah, maybe it was a penny to make people rich, but if Shiba hits a penny, it's going to have a larger market cap than, I think, like, it was some weird argument. Let me see if I can find it. Okay, yeah, so if Shiba were to reach 1 cent, right, like, this is what it is. Like, this is why the argument for it, and this is how people get sold on nonsense. All right, so if Shiba Inu were to reach just 1 cent, right, it would have a larger market cap. It would have a market cap of over 5.8 trillion, which would be 4 times larger than Bitcoin. It would be larger than Apple. It would be larger than Nvidia right now, right? There's no chance that Shiba Inu hits a penny. You know, and that's the crazy thing. That's how people get sold on it. Because if you take it out of context, you're like, hey, maybe this is good, right? Like, oh, if it hits 1 penny, we're all going to be rich. Sure, but if it hits a penny, it's going to have almost a $6 trillion market cap, which is larger than Apple, larger than Amazon, larger than Nvidia, larger than Bitcoin at its peak, you know? So, like, it's not hitting a penny is the problem. Maybe, listen, you guys know me. I don't like definitive statements. Super unlikely it hits a penny. But again, people get sold on stuff. They want to get rich. Like, it's really easy to sell people on different things like this. You just got to be very, very careful. What if they burn the coin or something, and that'd decrease the amount in supply? Yeah, I mean, burning, if you don't know what burning is in crypto and NFTs and other stuff, it basically means reducing the supply, making the current things more valuable. But that's a big if, and even if they did that, it's gonna be risky and difficult. John, Bitcoin to 100K by the end of the year? Maybe. Maybe. All right. Yeah, they're having. So you're saying there's a chance. They said the same thing about Doge. Right, and Doge, obviously. Again, I told you guys, like, before, my mom tried to buy Doge at 75 cents. I told her not to. Now Doge is at, what, 12 cents, 8 cents, something like that. So, yeah, I mean, it's just something that they used to sell people on buying these coins. All right, we're going to do a poll. I realize I haven't done a poll yet. Or does the Fed raise rate, or just does the Fed cut rates Wednesday? Does the Fed cut rates on Wednesday? Vote on the poll. Let me know how you feel. Does the Fed cut? Yeah. All right, chat. I heard the 45th. Nothing burger from the Fed. Yeah, I mean, the Fed is almost certainly not going to cut rates, but we're going to ask that question regardless. A lot of the time ahead of these big meetings, some people think that we're going to cut rates for whatever reason, and I don't know. I just don't think that we're going to. Tesla now pushing up towards highs of the day, up to 224s. What's the highs? 240 is the high. Oh, 270 is the high over the last couple of weeks. So we'll see what happens on this front. It's at 224s right now, 224s. Maybe cut in September. Sure, maybe. It's possible. We'll see. And I'm still against it, but I think that's probably what's expected as a September cut, you know. So yeah, I think basically that most people think we're going to cut in September. So we'll see. We'll see. You know. All right, guys. All right, guys.
Three, two, one, go!
All right, I'm sorry, guys. Sorry.
Oh, are you bleeding?
I wish they didn't just automatically play videos. Like, I'm trying to log in on some other platform and they just start playing all these videos. I don't want them to play all the videos, man. Yeah. All right, so let me set this up. All right, chat. What else? How do I still do this? So I gotta go somewhere else. Yeah, it was a social media page. I don't know. I think that's risky to BS. So he says XRP. I think that's pretty risky. Yeah, Nvidia up there, Tesla up there, SPY up there. So most things are pretty green today. We're still kind of sitting back waiting for what's going to happen. So according to a Reuters poll, the global economy is going to go 3.1% in 2024, previous 2.9% in April. So again, according to a Reuters poll, global economy is going to go 3.1% in 2024, previous of 2.9% in April poll, 3.1% in 2025, previous was 3%. We'll see if that happens. I don't know, man. Again, Tesla up a little bit. Let me put these indicators up. Yeah, we're at 113.67. It's trying to bounce. Tesla's up a lot today. That's nice. My portfolio is mostly green right now. We're up hundreds on the day. I'm in snow, S-N-O-W. I don't think I should add more, but I'm in it right now. Soundhound also kind of took a back seat and it's down some. Target's up. I'm in Target. Uber's actually finally red. And I might buy Uber on a dip. Let's see where Uber's at. Yeah, I mean, I don't think it's about understanding. I think there's a lot of different cryptos that have arguments, BS, regarding like use case arguments, you know. But I don't think we should pretend like any of them are guaranteed to succeed. You know, I think they want you to think they're guaranteed to succeed. All of these altcoins, they're going to want you to think that they're guaranteed success coins, right? But I think history has time and time again proved that that wasn't true and that there's innate risks investing in any of them, you know, and maybe it's big risk, big reward. I think if you invest in them and they do turn out to be successful, you know, I think some of the good things about XRP is that they won the lawsuits that they had with the SEC, but I think there's risks. Is CRWD up? Still down at 250s here, man. It's been dropping a lot. Up to 260s though today, but not enough to me. For me to be optimistic here regarding CRWD, just not high enough for me to be optimistic. Hey John, would you say Apple or Nvidia weighs the S&P more? I would say Nvidia has the S&P is a little bit different. The Nasdaq is more heavily weighted with Nvidia, but I'm pretty sure. Let's see. So the 20 stocks in terms of weight in the S&P, I believe Apple used to be the top. I don't think it's the top anymore. I think it's something. Okay, Apple's still the top at 7.2%. Nvidia's number 4. You know, so the top 20 stocks in the S&P are Apple, Microsoft, Amazon, Nvidia, Google, Meta, Tesla, Burke, United Health, Exxon, Eli Lilly, JP Morgan, Johnson & Johnson, Visa, Procter & Gamble, Nvidia. How is Nvidia listed twice? Alright, so let me correct this list because it gave me the wrong list. It's Apple, Microsoft, Amazon, Nvidia, Google, Meta, Tesla, Google Class C, Burke, United Health, Exxon, Eli Lilly, JP Morgan, Johnson & Johnson, Visa, Procter & Gamble. I did it again. Broadcom. I know Broadcom has been in like a powerful stock. There's Nvidia starting to dip down. AVGO has been like a really strong stock that a lot of people are watching. Here's AVGO. Pulling back some too now. Let me see what. Let's see what Broadcom does. It's a global tech that develops, supplies a broad range of semiconductors and infrastructure software. They do wireless communications, network, storage, industrial stuff. Yeah, I mean, again, though, I think maybe I'm wrong, BS. I certainly could be wrong, brother. The only thing for me, though, is that, like, what I try to refrain from is definitive statements, right? I see people all the time that get really emotional about their own individual positions and their holdings, and so they think that everything that they have is a sure thing, and I think that's a very risky lens to look at the market under, brother. I think that there's a good chance that a lot of the stuff succeeds, but there's always a chance it fails. Nothing's 100%, especially not in altcoin cryptos. Nothing's 100%. You don't know for sure. Those markets, technologies change so quickly, and utility arguments change so quickly with all the different layers and everything in Bitcoin or in crypto, that I don't think any of them are guaranteed to succeed. And I think that looking at it under that lens is a very risky mentality, brother. If Nvidia never split, I know it's how much would the stock be now? So it'd be 10x. So right now it would be about $1,135 a share. So it'd be 10x. So it did a 10-to-1 split, or a 1-to-10 split. So it broke one share into 10 shares, is what it did, right? So it would just be 10 times 113. So it would be $1,135 a share is what it would be pre-split price. Well, it's not about the information you found. It's about that everything's subject to change BS. You know, so like you can find the best information, the most optimistic information in the world regarding any cryptocurrency, especially altcoins. But again, a lot of people said the same thing about a lot of different altcoins that have fallen by the wayside. And so I think that there's a good chance, and I think it's big risk, big reward, but I think you have to look at it under the other lens. Nothing's 100% and nothing's guaranteed, especially in altcoins, you know. But it's all good, brother. We can agree to disagree, sir. You know, and maybe I'll regret not doing it, but I just got to be risk averse, I think. Oh, how about Tom Aspinall versus Curtis Blades, bro? Yeah, so Tom Aspinall just honestly, I think he could probably beat Jones realistically, especially right now with out of shape Jones. I think he'd probably beat him. All right, chat. Nvidia at 113s, SPY at 546, AVGO at 150s. What's up, Milo? Yeah, Aspinall looked great, honestly. That dude's fast for his weight, man. He's fast. All right. Again, pre-market news. A little light this morning, but that's okay. Not much going on today outside of... yeah. Every day this week is packed full of stuff, though. Every single day, Nick. This week we're going to be busy. Wednesday's the busiest and probably my favorite day. Yeah, I mean, I'm not laughing at anything BS. I can agree, and again, I think I don't think anybody should be super emotional about positions. I think that, like, an example of this is, like, I can buy things and like different stocks or whatever, and if somebody disagrees with that, that's fine. You know, that's fine. Again, I just don't know enough about certain things to really say yes or no, and I think looking at them in terms of definitiveness is a risky thing, especially in crypto. But again, do your thing, bro. It doesn't matter. Yeah, AMD earnings tomorrow. I'm wondering what's going to be bigger, AMD or Microsoft. I think in terms of interest right now, AMD is actually a little bit bigger. So I'm curious to see what that looks like tomorrow. But again, tomorrow morning we also have Sofi, PayPal, Pfizer, Procter & Gamble, BP, a bunch of other stuff too. But yeah, AMD, Microsoft drop tomorrow evening. Let me see which earnings call and what the timetable is for these earnings calls. You know, AMD is one of the biggest microchip stocks right now too. Let's take a look. Alright, so AMD earnings calls at 5 tomorrow. What about Microsoft? Microsoft's earnings calls at 5:30. It's alright. Yeah, I mean, a lot of them. Google was kind of mixed results. I didn't mind it. Like, Google's kind of mixed results. It's pretty much, it's not the worst. Like, we bought it after the dip. I bought it up, and I still like it, to be honest. Google's sitting at 171s right now. You know, its earnings came out. It was a little bit higher, but percentage-wise, I'm okay with it, and I like it, and we'll see if it holds. Might add a little bit more to it here. Yeah, we'll see. But I'm basically flat in Google. I bought it right after the earnings dip, so. We also bought up Microsoft as well. I think I'm down. Or I'm actually green in Microsoft. The position in Microsoft. Nice. Average price is 428s. We're at about 430s for Microsoft. I don't know whether I should. Yeah. I have to be. I'm going to take a little bit off of Microsoft here just because I'm up a lot. And earnings are tomorrow. And so I don't want to get stuck in like some mass, like some big fall or anything like that. AMD. I am in MU, and I'm down in MU. When is MU earnings? I should be very careful about MU, I think, as well. Okay, so MU's already dropped. MU dropped June 26th. Did MU really drop June 26th? They're late. They don't drop theirs until September. Yeah. I'm in Ford. I don't know what to do with the Ford. I'm basically flat, and I've been flat in Ford for a while. Let me see. When does Ford earnings come out? Ford came out the 24th. Yeah, so they dropped the 24th. They gapped down from it. They're down a little bit now. I was green on it, but I'll probably just sit in Ford. It's small enough. I'll maybe add to it, but yeah, I'll add to Ford. There we go. So we just added a little bit to Ford. It's not a huge position. I just think it's down enough over the last couple days to justify it. What do we? What other earnings do we have? We also have some earnings dropping. When is AMC and all that stuff earnings, right? So is AMC actually doing an earnings call? So AMC earnings are Friday. Wait, what? Damn, dude. I got something I gotta do on Friday. Why is AMC? Oh my gosh, man. AMC is doing their earnings report Friday at 4:20 Eastern Standard Time. Why? Friday? Y'all are gonna cover earnings on Friday at 4 o'clock? Why? Let me make sure. They haven't even been doing earnings call lately, I don't think. Or no, they have. GameStop's hasn't been. Remember Space stock? It was 66 cents when we bought it and $60 when we sold it. Now it's $7. Yeah, honestly, Space, yes, they're doing their earnings call at freaking Friday, August 2nd. Why? Dude, I'm mad about this. Anyways, no. So if you guys remember back to the original argument, okay, this is an argument that I've been having. There's a couple stocks that I just don't like. There's a lot of stocks that I just don't like. Why do I not like certain stocks? Because I think they're just risky. I think they've been overhyped. So when Space was up at $20, $30, $40 a share, I was the one sitting here telling people it was risky. What was my argument against people saying it was risky? Or what was my argument for saying it was risky, I should say? My argument was that it's a space stock that's incredibly hard to monetize, and space is a super expensive industry. It was never going to hold. And so I said this when space not started dropping, but when space was up huge amounts, right? When space was way up here, this is post-split price as well. Like, the Virgin Mobile guy is not about to build a profitable space industry. I mean, he's built a lot of good businesses, but to monetize these industries is incredibly difficult. And so for something to get hyped up on, like, anticipation of some type of space industry, it was just a silly bet. And I think if you're going to make money shorting stocks, I'm not a big believer in shorting blue chip healthy companies, but I think there's a couple stocks that you can find that are obviously extended, obviously overhyped, and obviously going to fail. And I think there's a lot of stocks like this. Now, there's risks shorting anything. You know, your risk is infinite, if you will. Like, stocks can go up an infinite amount, but, you know, I still think there's some good arguments for stuff like that. With that said, where's some of these other stocks right now? Yeah, Lululemon lost. Yeah, I don't even know if I'm going to be able to cover it. If it's at freaking Friday, I'll have to see. So yeah, it's such a sketchy stock to invest in. Wingstop is overextended. I mean, this all extension has to do with revenue, right? So let me take a look at Wingstop revenue graphs. I mean, I don't know, brother. Like, look, there's a difference between a space company that is not profitable yet, trying to monetize it and pumping up and ridiculous breakouts, versus a company with revenue that looks like this quarterly. You know, there's just a difference. And I think people have to recognize that difference. Like, a lot of people want to try to argue, like, blue chip stocks are extended, but then their revenue looks like this, you know? And so I think people have to understand, just because something's up a lot does not mean it's extended, you know? And it's not as easy of a correlation as that. There's a lot more that goes into it. Like, we could look at Wing's EPS graph to see what their margins are like. But, you know, and again, their margins are still pretty good and getting better and better and better as time goes on. Like, look at Wingstop's here. This is where they started out. And this is their margin growth. So this is their earnings per share. So their margins are getting better and better and better, to be honest. And so, yeah. We'll see. But they're getting better and better in terms of their margins there. We'll see what happens. There's space. Wingstop. And again, with that said, when we look at Wingstop, it's up a lot for sure. It was at $10.09. But again, I think this shows kind of growth. Yeah, to me, it's still up a lot. Like, I'm not buying it up here, but there might be an argument for it. I don't know. What are your thoughts on Krispy Kreme donut? I love donuts, but I can't eat them anymore. Krispy Kreme, as a Louisianian, you know, I love Krispy Kreme donuts, but I'm also not one to really invest in it. They've been downtrending all year, and really they've been downtrending since their IPO date, from what I can see. Like, Krispy Kreme IPO'd 3 years ago. At least that's the history. So, like, if we look at Krispy Kreme, DNUT, they IPO'd years and years ago. The margins are iffy, right? Like, the problem with these, and they have basically lost 50% of their value since they IPO'd. The problem with these is simple. Opening up a franchise for Krispy Kreme is risky, right? Like, they might be wildly successful and you might make tons of money, or they might not be so successful and they might not make any money at all and just basically fail, right? So franchises are risky for Krispy Kreme, as much as I love them. And margins are not the best for donuts especially. Too much competition, too easy to compete, too easy to start your own, where you don't have to pay franchise fees and all that stuff. I just think they're risky. But we'll see. We'll see. Tesla moving up a little bit. We'll see if Tesla holds. But yeah, risky nonetheless for DNUT. Hey, what's up, David? Looks like liquidity sweep. Maybe. Tesla's starting to break highs, though. Look at Tesla. It's still moving up. Like, it's up there. You know, it's up to 224s. 223s. 224s. Past performance cannot predict futures. If AMD earnings aren't good, does that bring it down Nvidia? Yes, it does. Yeah, they're just hoping somebody's dumb enough to buy it. Regarding the bagel store, I think a lot of people want to start a business, but they don't think deeply about it, right? Like, everybody wants to look successful, so everybody wants to say they're an entrepreneur and that they're some type of business person, and most of them aren't, right? Like, the biggest risk starting a business is simple, and I've talked about this before, but like, the problem is that everybody wants to start a business, but they don't think deeply enough about starting it. So they just want to start it. So they'll find any place offering rent. They'll find any place offering, like cheap monthly rent, and they'll open up their business at these random spots that get no traffic, no foot traffic, no interest. And then they'll start some random business, like a cupcake business, and then they just hope to be successful, right? And then when they don't get any business, nobody really goes to their cupcake store, then they complain about, market saturation, and they complain and complain and complain, but it's like they just made a dumb decision starting up something like that in the first place. The reality is, if you're going to start a business, location is everything. So you better make sure you get a really good location, and if it's a good location, you're going to have to pay for it. It's not going to be super cheap. Generally, if you find super cheap rent for your business, the business either needs to be like not based around like traffic, but based around something else, right? So you don't need foot traffic. It's some type of other business that you just need a place for. But again, everybody wants to start a business and they rush into it. And so they start some random business. It doesn't succeed. And then they fail and they're sitting here like, why? But you got to think deeper about it. There's a lot of variables that go into starting a business. And most businesses like that fail, really. I don't know how many haircut places, how many cupcake stores I've walked past where you could just tell it's the same thing. Like, people just rush to start a business. I had a guy that wanted to start a jiu-jitsu gym with me, right? And like, I was talking about it. Honestly, for me though, it was a lot of work and not that much income, So like, I was talking to him about it, but again, I ended up not doing it because it would have been a ton of work. And it would have only made like $1 or $2 grand a month. Just not enough to justify spending all that time and effort and energy in the business. Too risky, too much competition, bad location. And again, he would find a location and be like, hey, look at this. And then there was just a lot of reasons not to do it. But again, he wanted to like rush into it. Is Tesla actually gapping down? Or look at this. Okay, so this is just the 8 a.m. scrum. We do have On Semis dropping earnings today. So On Semi just dropped. They posted 96-cent EPS versus 92 cents expected. Revenue of 1.74. They expected 1.73, so slightly better than expected here. Well, software's fine, you know. Yeah, this is just the 8 a.m. scrum. So as soon as I saw this candle wick, all right, I thought, is it 8 o'clock? And then, yep, it is 8 o'clock. It's 8 o'clock. This happens a lot with everything, including the S&P and the NASDAQ. People that don't understand it are going to say it's some type of conspiracy, but this happens with everything you could look at. Like, I'm sure the SPY, sometimes the SPY will do it, sometimes the Q will do it, sometimes, like, major tech stocks will do it, but it doesn't look like they're doing it today. But yeah, it's just the 8 a.m. scrum. It's random orders from overnight getting filled right at the previous closing price. That's why you see it go all the way down to the previous close. Tesla, though, is about to break pre-market highs here, or getting close to it at least. So again, Tesla's trying to break pre-market highs. It's up to 224.20s. Yeah, Dixie's starting to pump. Tesla is getting closer, though. It is trying. But yeah, anyways, the dude wanted to open up a jiu-jitsu gym, but it was kind of like a sketchy area. Like, it was a sketchy area. The problem with long-term rent is that, dude, you're getting locked into long-term rent for like 3 years, right? So say you start that business and it fails in 6 months. You're on the hook for that for years, that rent for years and years and years, right? It's just not what you want to do. Right, it's not. You don't want to get stuck paying thousands of dollars a month in rent for a business that failed 2 years ago. You know. But again, the guy that was talking to me about it was so desperate to just start it. Right, he was so desperate to just start it. He was trying to ignore all the red flags about doing it, and I think that's the most common. Like, people that haven't experienced business up and downs, that don't have that much exposure to it, they don't really realize that it takes a lot more back work behind it. Like, you're not just going to be able to just randomly start it and have success. Like, it needs to be calculated. And so starting a business in a really sketchy area, especially like a jiu-jitsu gym where like, kids are supposed to go train there. Like, you're going to want to have like that type of thing, and they're not going to want to go to a sketchy area. You just got to think deeper about it. You can't get so desperate to start something that you rush it and fail, you know. Anyways, yeah, well, ARM earnings as well, right? So when does ARM earnings come out? I know there's some of these ARM earnings drop some of these days that are big. Let me see. Tilray. We do have Tilray this evening. We'll see what these cannabis stocks look like. Sofi, AMD. When is ARM? ARM drops earnings in 2 days, on the 31st, on Wednesday. Speaking of starting your own business, what do you think about gas stations? Good margins? Expensive to start, but sure, if you can start one, they've got a good likelihood of success. But they're usually really expensive to get off the ground. McDonald's earnings are already out, so they dropped earlier this morning. I would say they were rough, but they weren't like. They posted worse than expected EPS, worse than expected revenue. Gym businesses used to be good, but there's a lot of competition now, to be honest. Yeah, I don't know. I've never tried to start a gas station business, poke, so I have no idea, bro. Yeah, I don't have, you know, I don't know anything about that. Anyways, Tesla still testing the highs here. SPY pull it back to the 200 EMA VWAP level. Nvidia down to 113s. I think we might get choppiness today, to be honest. I think we get choppiness today. Why do I think we get choppiness? Is because it's a huge economic report / earnings week. We got a lot of stuff dropping this week. A lot of different things going on this week. You know, this week is probably going to be packed full of a lot of stuff. We got Microsoft, AMD, Apple, Amazon earnings. We got the Fed rate decision. You got non-farm payrolls, unemployment. You got the JOLTS report tomorrow. I think all of that stuff said it's going to be a choppy sideways day today just because we've got all those economic reports this week. It's probably the busiest week for markets this month for sure with all the stuff going on. It's probably the busiest week for markets. But again, it's also going to be a choppy day today because today's kind of the day before a lot of the big stuff. So, you know, yeah. All right, guys. Love choppy days. Yeah, I'm going to try to scalp choppiness. We'll see how that goes. I'm going to try. Again, we'll see how it goes. Yeah, if you go to Canada, right? I went to Canada. There's just a culture shock there a little bit. Like, I'd go to Canada, and you know, this was like decades ago, but I would go to Canada and I'd pull up to a gas station. They pump your gas for them. You tip them a little bit. Like, it's kind of a full service gas stations, and some in Canada, right? That is kind of slowly lost steam, but you know, you still see it somewhere if you go up to Canada. Yeah, anything else today? I don't think so, right? I think it's pretty slow for the rest of the day. Let me make sure. Yeah, Dallas Fed. Yeah, today's basically flat. But again, every other day this week is super busy. We got CB Consumer Confidence and JOLTS tomorrow at 10 a.m. We got earnings tomorrow, too. We got a bunch of big earnings tomorrow. We got, like, Sofi earnings. Wednesday's certainly the biggest day, for sure. Wednesday, we got ADP non-farm employment, GDP data for Canada, European CPI data. Like, dude, we got so much stuff dropping Thursday or Wednesday. We got Meta earnings. We got the Fed rate hike decision. We've got jobless claims on Thursday. So, yeah, just a bunch of stuff this week. It'll be busy. Looking at our poll numbers, we asked people, does the Fed cut rates Wednesday? 66% of people say no. 34% of people say yes. So we'll see if we cut rates. I don't know. There's a chance, but it's not super likely, I think, right? So there's a chance the Fed cuts, but it's not super likely, David. You know, maybe they might, but it's just not super likely, like I said. Yeah, Tesla up a little bit, tested the lifetime highs, broke the pre-market high, and then came right back down. So yeah, there's a chance, but not super high. All right, guys. Yeah, most people, if we look at the Fed rate decisions here, most people are expecting September. So you got 96%. There is a chance that we cut Wednesday, 4.1% chance. So it's still pretty unlikely. But there's a chance nonetheless, right? 96% chance of another pause Wednesday. But again, a 4.1% chance of a cut. So, you know, we'll see. Most people are expecting a cut to show or to start September. I hope we push it back to November, personally. To be honest here, it's not even showing the option of another pause. So basically, according to the CME Watch tool, there is a 0% chance of a pause or any type of rate hike on September, right? So according to this poll, there is a 100% chance of a rate cut in September. And so again, these polls are generally correct. They're not always correct, but generally they're correct. But again, 100% chance of a rate cut in September according to this poll. It doesn't necessarily mean it's correct, but yeah. I just don't think we cut this month. I think that would be a bad decision. The market's not going to crash if they cut rates on Wednesday. Yeah, I mean, it might drop significantly, but I don't think it's going to crash just because of a rate cut. You know, I think most of the market is pushing for rate cuts. Yeah. Again, we're in forward. We added a little bit to our forward position. We're actually green. We're up over $200 today in stocks. So we'll see if that continues too. Disney's helping us out for sure. Yeah, I mean, creative. I think definitive statements like something is 100% going to happen is silly. You know, I don't think anything's 100%, and I don't think anything absolutely is going to happen, especially as in terms of like as up in the air as like a market crash from rate cuts. Like the market's speculating on what the reaction will be from rate cuts in general. Some people speculate that the market's going to go down if we cut rates, but again, if they're looking at history, usually something has to break in order for them to cut rates, right? And I don't think anything's breaking right now. I think unemployment's still low. I think the labor market's still pretty strong. I think GDP is still growing. And so in that regard, I don't think anything's necessarily breaking. And so I think if we do cut rates, the reaction to it is going to be a little bit more up in the air versus like anything super definitively. Just sensationalism, yeah. ARM pulling back a little bit. ARM at 150, so still a little risky. Where are the banks at right now? All right, so JP Morgan at 213s. We'll see if it holds. But yeah, JP Morgan. I think banks are up too much for me to buy them right now. They're up so much right now. Wells Fargo's a little bit better. Bank of America. Yeah, Tesla's still sitting right around the highs of the day here. Alright, so yeah, Nvidia up to 113.60s. So Nvidia's trying here. Tesla at 223s. Coffee. Yeah, isn't there a futures contract for coffee? I think there is, right? I'm not sure what it is, but there usually is some type of futures signal for coffee. Let me look it up. RC is the coffee symbol. Let me see. So Tesla pulled it back to the VWAP. Is it time to buy the dip? No quote. Where's Apple today? Here's Apple. Apple at 217.50s. History indicates that an uninverted yield curve leads to an eventual recession down the road. Not yet uninverted. Yeah, so currently it's still inverted, though. The yield curve is still yeah, the yield curve inversion is still there. What do we mean by the yield curve inversion? We mean short-term bonds are paying more than long-term bonds. I think they usually go by the 2-year and the 10-year yields. Yeah, so when we look at it, we can look at like let's see. Yeah, I want what's the symbol for the 10-year yield? There's got to be one for a stock platform. TNX, but I don't think TNX is working. Oh yeah, the TNX works. So here's the 10-year yield. It's currently at about 4.2% for the 10-year. I know this one. And then the 2-year yield. You know, 2-year yield is harder to find, to be honest, man. Yeah, US 10 years, what we're gonna have to go by. No, let me look. So you have to put a money sign. So the one it's showing me online is UST2Y. No? Okay, so there's a futures contract, ZT. There we go. See, it doesn't actually show the yield price. Yeah, history doesn't repeat itself, but it definitely rhymes, is the saying. So yeah, history doesn't repeat, but it certainly rhymes. Mark Twain. Yeah, today's tech earning prelim day. We don't really have any big tech earnings outside of maybe like Tilray and a couple other ones. But again, the rest of the week is going to be packed full of stuff. A lot of busy stuff going on this week. We'll see what happens, guys. We'll see what happens. But yeah. Yeah, I don't know if there's any way to look at the yield on the 10-year. Or the 10-year is TNX. 2-year yield. There's not really any way to look at it. Yeah, to trade futures contracts. Yeah, for sure. All right, guys. Again, we got a couple votes. 66% of people say no, we're not going to cut rates on Wednesday. Honestly, it's surprising that 34% of people think we're going to cut rates. Again, there's a chance that we do, but it's not super high of a chance. You know, it's just not a super high chance. Right now we're at 223.80s. But yeah, there's a chance we do. It's just not super high. Tesla's starting to pop up. You can see it's up to 223.90s here. So Tesla's starting to move up. Mostly flat, though. A lot of stuff's flat. I'm probably going to attack choppiness. I'll probably short the SPY here a little bit. We're at the top of the range. We're ahead of big tech earnings. I don't mind attacking choppy ranges today just based off of everything that happens. Yeah, I remember the IPO for cannabis stocks were crazy too, man. Alright, we're gonna add some more here. Alright, so we're in 150 shares of the SPY. Shorting this top. We bounced all the way to the top. We'll take up to 300. Yeah, I don't think anything's definitive though creative. I think that I think that it's all up in the air, and acting like anything is 100% certainty is usually kind of a rookie trader's thing, brother. Like, again, and I've been pretty consistent with that outlook. Like, we don't know for sure. It would most likely fall, I would agree. But nobody knows anything for sure, and I think you got to look at it with that lens in mind that anything could happen. You know, the market, I'll put it this way. We could cut rates on Wednesday, and the market pumps up, you know. So, like, nobody knows for sure, and I think you have to look at the market with that lens. You know, it's kind of like the Dunning-Kruger, which is that anybody that claims to know 100% what the market's going to do, anybody that claims anything is 100% in the market, it usually has a lesser amount of experience, you know. On Semi posted earnings this morning. They posted. On Semi did post earnings this morning. Yeah, I'm trying to find it. They did post. I'm trying to look for it. On Semi. One time I posted 96-cent profit EPS. I'll put it up in chat. Yeah, I mean, good day to you, creative. It's just so, like, it's such an argument. My guess is he's somebody that's been banned before. You know, again, it's all good, but it just gets to be too much for me. Like, too much for me. I think anybody should widely agree here, right? Outside of anything, anybody should widely agree that nobody knows the market reaction, right? We can guess, and we got high probability outcomes with anything. And this is something that I hope the market and the viewership here understands. Everybody understands that the market can probably do one thing or another. But when you get really forceful about the market is going to do this or the market is going to do that, especially in terms of like rate reactions, like reactions to rate cuts, like it comes from a lack of experience usually. You know, usually. Here's on Semi's numbers right there. And again, creative has been on like a tight list anyway. Like he literally just disagrees with everything I say. And so it just gets exhausting, you know. Only a Sith deals in absolutes. If earnings are good for tech, you don't know it will go up or down, but if the earnings are bad, is there a possibility of going up? Sure. Again, bad is subjective, but there's definitely a chance that we could have good earnings and the market goes, or and the stock goes down, or we could have bad earnings and the stock goes up. There's certainly a chance of that happening. That happens very often, very regularly with stocks. Like sometimes stocks will have great earnings and fall. Sometimes stocks will have terrible earnings and go up. And so it certainly does happen, and it's never always 100% any definitive way, you know. Anyways, Tesla's still sitting towards the top. We are short here. We're down like 20 bucks. Yeah, we don't have any economic news or anything today. It's very light. Again, it's been very light for the last like 3 weeks. Economic news and everything has been low, you know. All right, so we're at the top of the range here on the SPY. I don't want to add more to this position. We'll add one more, but we're basically flat. Here's break even right here. So I want to give it some time. If we do keep ranging sideways, maybe we'll come back down. Okay, I'm new, so I just have not seen example. Yeah, for sure. If you watch, like, we cover all the major. Yeah, he did make it longer than a lot of people thought. But, again, it's just not. Again, it's fine to disagree, you know. But, again, he's disagreeing about things that he's just trying to poke buttons. My guess is he's somebody that's been banned long before today. And, for some reason he has some weird vendetta against me is most likely what it is. So again, the SPY just ripped up. We'll probably end up cutting this. I wanted to see if it tests the top of the range, but for the SPY to move up and break highs, you know, I'm gonna have to cut this position, unfortunately. We'll give it 1 second. Let me see where we're at. Okay, so We got this high right here. The only reason I might not cut this is because I do want to see it break this high. We'll see if it does. All right, we'll see if it does. Yeah, Bitcoin is pumping up today. A lot of people speculated that the market's going to continue to rise based off of Bitcoin. Now, it doesn't. Bitcoin usually follows macro markets, so it's never like the market's going to follow Bitcoin. But yeah. All right, so we'll see if Nvidia comes down. Yeah, for sure, Curtis. No one knows how the market's going to respond. I think that's the only reasonable perspective. Like, again, generally what you see is there's a lot of egos floating around in the stock market, right? The experienced people are going to respond mostly how I respond, which is like, hey, we don't know how the market's going to respond to rate cuts. We can speculate. We might have high probability outcomes either way, right? But nobody ultimately knows, and we could certainly get something outside of the most likely outcome there, right? That's anybody that has experience in economics and markets is going to recognize that truth, right? People who are newish, again, are usually going to be the ones that are like, this is the outcome we're going to get, and if you don't agree with it, then they just kind of start arguing with you. That's a very rookie thing, I would say. That's a very rookie mindset. Like, hey, this is going to happen, and if you don't agree with me, I'm just going to start arguing with everybody. I think you got to look at both sides and understand, especially in terms of rate cuts. The argument for rate cuts right now is that real estate is weak. I think there's a bigger argument to not cut rates, to be honest. I think we shouldn't cut rates right now, you know. All right, I'm going to add one more 25 share position. And again, I don't mind losing a little bit here in this account, but I'm also going to cut it if we break this high right here. I just can't hold it past that. We're testing the high right now. I don't want to get retraced and just stuck like with a losing position though. Yeah, I'm gonna have to get out, unfortunately. We lost a couple $100, but you know, honestly, we're up a couple hundred today already, so we're actually kind of flat on the day. But a little bummed, but it's all good. We'll come back to it. Maybe make it back later. All right, so Tesla tapping the highs. We'll see if it breaks. Hey, what's up, Blaze? Green today, I'm slightly down actually now. I'm still up thousands on the year, but I'm slightly down right now based off of that last run up on the SPY. I was shorting the top. I was hoping we would get a rejection. We do have a flag-like pattern on Tesla here, though, but Nvidia made this big rebound in the last, like, 4 or 5 minutes. And so that's kind of what dragged the S&P up. Bitcoin hasn't done anything worth noticing for months now. Someone get this thing moving. Honestly, it's up to Bitcoin has been in mostly a flat range. If we look at Bitcoin overall here, right? Like here's Bitcoin. Bitcoin has been essentially sideways for the entire 4-month period. Like, look, that's Bitcoin's range. Now we can break out of this range and see what happens, but Bitcoin has been in the same range for a long time. A long time. I would definitely not want to be in a short right now. Yeah, for sure. I'm out of my short. But again, Nvidia's pushing up. I don't want to get stuck. Bitcoin up to 70,000+ though. So like 70K is a big level too. But you can kind of see, sorry, I had a 1-minute chart up. Here's Bitcoin's actual range over the last 4 months. You kind of see it looks the same. But again, basically since February, March, this is Bitcoin's range. So again, we've been in that rectangular state. I don't know what it's going to do. But we've been sideways for months and months and months now. People say zoom out to justify Bitcoin every time. I mean, that's probably because long-term Bitcoin looks like this. So when in doubt, you do zoom out on Bitcoin, but it doesn't mean anything. But yeah, that's why. $53 to $69K seems significant. Yeah, I mean, it's getting close to lifetime highs, and I think that could drag it up higher, right? It's getting closer to lifetime highs. Now, whether it's going to actually break lifetime highs is a different story, but it's getting closer, What already came out? AMC said this past Thursday through Sunday, the company set new 2024 records for weekend attendance. Oh, I saw the movie Twisters. Twisters is actually really good. I liked it. But yeah, so AMC said it broke 2024 records for weekend attendance and admissions revenue at theater locations in the U.S. I did see the new Twisters movie. It was pretty good. I liked it. Bitcoin confidence was yesterday. Yeah, I heard. All right, let me get the day trading stream set up. So we are going to be day trading today. Let's get ready. Let me make sure redirect works. All right, so we are going to be day trading live today, chat. So we are going to be day trading live. It's the slowest couple weeks of the market, or it's the slowest month of the market, I'll say. But we're going to try to day trade live. We'll see how this goes. Wish me luck. we're set up there. Let me make sure we got this going on. Yeah, I like Twisters. Twister was good. Historically, every time Bitty gets near the all-time highs, it dips due to profit taking literally every time. How was the Bitcoin conference? It must have helped Bitcoin. Nvidia now dipping down some back under the level where I got into it. And so it did reject. The problem is now we're kind of pulling back to a support level, so I'll wait, I think, here. But no, I liked Twisters. I think it was one of the better new movies that have come out. I really do. And I'm not one that just kind of... All right. Sell gold, buy Bitcoin. I don't know about that. I think holding both is good. I think holding both is good. You know, so I think holding both is fine. But again, there's risks to both, right? You got to understand there's going to be risks. And so you just got to be careful. Like most day traders are going to like volatility and other stuff, but with gold, it's a long-term hold. And I think with Bitcoin, it's probably going to be a long-term hold. You just got to understand your risk tolerance, to be honest. I don't really like investing in Bitcoin mining stocks. I think there's risks there, to be honest. All right, guys. Yeah, I'd rather just buy crypto, to be honest. Holding both is preferred. Yeah, I mean, miners have big potential as well. They move a lot with Bitcoin overall, though. So it depends. Another minus 3% for Nvidia at market open. I don't know, man. Nvidia, it's kind of a make or break it zone for it here. Like, Nvidia's at 110s. So I'm in Sofi. I hope Sofi goes up. I'm basically completely flat in it though, right? So I'm in it. I hope it goes up, but again, I'm completely flat right now. So with that, I have to just keep it light, I think. SoFi is good. I'm in it. I don't know how I feel about it. It's at 743s. 743s. It has had a weird road, to be honest, a weird road. Yeah, so SoFi has earnings tomorrow morning. SoFi's down on the year too. It was at almost $12 a share. It's back all the way down to 740s. Hit as low as 615s. You know, so. I sold 50% of my Bitcoin between 60 to 70K. Next sell area is 80K, but I'd for a correction. Yeah. Bitcoin, I'm in it. I hope it goes up, but it's a long-term play, I think. And so if I'm going to invest in it, it's a long-term play. All right. I wanted to add some non-tech stocks to your portfolio to balance things out. What would you add? I like Walmart. I don't know. There's a couple stocks like I like Target as well. People hate Target, but I think Target is packed, makes a ton of money, sells clothes. People buy clothes and fashion stuff, makeup from there. I think Target's probably going to be really profitable as a company long term, and as an investment, I really like it. And I'm in it, and I'm green in it. I've made a lot of money on it for the past couple months. Walmart, like I said, Home Depot. I'm a big believer in Home Depot. Why do I like Home Depot? I like it because, you know, a lot of these businesses are going to be obsolete long term, right? So a lot of retail stores are obsolete. The difference between like Home Depot and others, though, is that Home Depot specifically is like stuff that you're not really going to order online. You know, like wood, you're going to go to buy plants from Home Depot. You're not going to order plants online. You're going to buy wood from Home Depot. You're not going to order that online. You're going to buy barbecue pits, furniture from Home Depot. You're not going to order that stuff online most of the time, at least. And so I think in terms of resiliency towards tech growth, Home Depot is one of the better options. But again, I'm not telling you to buy anything. I have no idea what you should do. Not an investment professional, not liable if you lose. Like, always make your own assessment, trade responsibly, all that good stuff. But yeah, that's one of the reasons, like, I have to just kind of be careful. Yeah, a lot of debt. Yeah, I mean, I know why you might not like them as a contractor, though. But everybody's different is the problem, right? So, like, everybody's a little different. All right, we got 10 minutes. Yeah, again, I'm not telling you to buy anything. I don't know. Right, but I think those stocks are my favorite stocks to watch, really, you know. Yeah, we got 10 minutes until 8 a.m. Again, it's just been kind of boring, man. We haven't had a lot of stuff happen over the last 2.5 weeks. This is the busiest week. Everything's kind of been consolidated. Like when they do economic reports, right? So like the big difference is like it's been very slow for economic reports. Like they've kind of grouped them all together, which is interesting. But it's still been very slow. Like, there hasn't been a lot of economic reports over the last few weeks. Like, if we look at last week, right? Like, last week we basically had nothing except for GDP and PCE on Friday. Those were the first economic reports we had for 3 weeks prior to that. And so it's been there hasn't been a lot of stuff for me to cover here. It's the middle of summer, and everything's been pretty light and boring. You know, we do have Palantir earnings next week. I'm looking at everything else. Tuesday, we got Uber earnings. Supermicro Semiconductors and Rivian is going to be on Tuesday evening. Shopify Disney is going to be on Wednesday morning. Robinhood, Wynn, a couple other ones Wednesday evening. Thursday, we got Eli Lilly. Friday, SoundHound Unity. And then Friday, NKLA. Or 9 a.m. is what I meant, not 10. Sorry, 9 a.m. Nvidia earnings are going to be August 28th, so they're going to be at the end of next month, right? And that's a crazy big release here, too. Google is actually doing really well today. I'm up a lot in Google. I wonder if that's going to hold. So long that I have to trade last. Yeah, it's been a slow couple weeks. It's all good. Yeah. Strong bull, yeah. Are you a McDonald's? No, I'm not. It depends on how much McDonald's drops, to be honest here. So McDonald's at 255s right now. So McDonald's is gapping up on what I would say was worse than expected earnings. And so I just don't trust it. I don't eat at McDonald's anymore, although it is down on the year pretty big after, like, what made McDonald's fall is the weight loss drug stuff. So, like, weight loss drugs became a big thing. And with all those weight loss drugs, people speculated on negative sympathy for McDonald's is what happened, right? And I think that has caused them to dump over the year. They're still not cheap enough for me to buy them. They're at 250s right now. On a weekly chart, though, they are starting to break under some support. 245 is like a big support level as well. What's the symbol? Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I know, like, Coca-Cola and other stocks like that, Matt, ended up pulling back. But Coca-Cola's back up big, and I'm in Coca-Cola. It's up to 67 a share right now, which is pretty big. It was at, like, to put it in perspective, Coca-Cola started the year off at 59, and so it's up it's up a decent amount on the year. Almost 20%, probably like 15% on the year, which is good. It depends on whether we start cutting rates. The question is, how does the market respond to rate cuts? And I really don't know, right? Who knows how the market reacts to rate cuts? They'll probably react negatively. And if you look at history, right? So historically, the market reacts negatively to rate cuts for sure. It says initially short-term markets have a positive reaction. It says often Again, we're using AI to interpret this, but it says often the stock market responds positively in the short term to an interest rate cut. This is because lower interest rates reduce borrowing costs for companies and consumers and boost consumer spending. In July 2019, the S&P 500 rose initially from rate cuts, as well as boosts in equity prices. Stocks tend to rally as investors anticipate higher corporate profits due to cheaper borrowing costs and improved spending. Right, and so this is what I'm saying. Like, it depends, though. During periods of economic uncertainty, like the 2001 recession, initially it boosted the market. In 2008, they aggressively cut rates as part of a larger set of interventions. The market initially responded positively, but the ongoing economic challenges meant the recovery in stock prices took time. So again, historically, it says the market actually responds positively to cuts, which is interesting because a lot of people have been saying negative. Here, let me look this up a little bit more. All right, so I said list every time the Fed pivots to rate cuts and the market response over the following 4 months. And let's judge the reactions. Yeah, Nvidia, again, is at 113.90s. And so it said in July 19th to April of 2020, initially the market reacted positively. In 2008, the Fed's cuts during the financial crisis were initially seen as supportive, but the deepening economic troubles led to market volatility and declines. In November of 2000 to July 2003, rate cuts aimed at combating the dot-com bubble burst initially provided some relief. In 1992, rate cuts during this period helped support the recovery of the early 1990s recession. So positive short-term reactions to rate cuts. And so again, if we do cut rates next week, my short would have made money here on the SPY. I'm a little bummed out about it. I would have made money. But long-term reactions are less certain. All right, so LIPO is a stock currently up. Phase 2 enrolls first patients is up 240% on these news. So look, here's a penny stock running up today. I'm definitely not telling you to buy penny stocks. I think this thing is up a ridiculous amount. But if you like penny stocks, you can kind of watch for the market volatility from it. They went up from 40 cents all the way to 140. So it's up 200+% on this news. Crazy percentage gains here for LIPO. It is a stock that's technically running right now. We're going to get ready to pivot over to our day trading stream, though, chat. So, yeah, we're going to get ready to pivot over to our day trading stream. Be ready. We'll see what happens. And let me make sure redirect is on and working. Okay, yeah, we should be good. What's up, Jay? Again, guys, we're going to get ready to pivot to our day trading stream. If it doesn't bring you to our day trading stream, so again, hit the subscribe button if you haven't already. Hit the notification bell. We appreciate it. Again, we're going to get ready to pivot to our day trading stream. The market overall has been very boring. But some penny stocks are running up. Here's the Q and the NASDAQ here. So again, we're going to get ready to go to our day trading stream, so be ready, chat. Yeah, this short would have worked. Just kind of topped a bunch of traders out. That's what I was trying to avoid, but it kind of got a little too high. It's all good. Nvidia is bullish. Yeah. All right, again, we're going to go to our day trading stream right now, chat. So, again, as soon as we close this stream, it's going to bring you to the day trading stream. And I'll see you guys over there. Again, you won't have to go anywhere. If it doesn't, for whatever reason, bring you to the day trading stream, here's the link. Once you get there, though, let me know if it redirects you. It should redirect you, but if it doesn't, let me know. There's the day trading stream. No, it's on the same channel, Faye. So, but it should automatically bring you to it, right? So it should automatically bring you to the day trading channel.